What happens when your shadow starts acting differently? The first time my shadow moved without me, I didn't see it happen directly. It was a subtle shift, like a ripple disturbing still water. I was sitting on my couch, the television flashing muted blue across the room, when something flickered at the edge of my vision. My head stayed still, but the shadow on the floor turned, slowly, as if looking sideways at me. For a moment, I thought it was my imagination. Fatigue, a trick of the half-dead light bulb overhead. I forced myself not to look directly at it, terrified that acknowledgement might make it worse. But the warming sense of being watched burrowed into my skin like cold needles. The second time, it was deliberate. I was in the kitchen pouring water, and when I lifted the glass, the shadow's hand lagged behind, hesitating for a heartbeat before catching up. The movement wasn't delayed, it was resisting, and when I turned off the light, the shadow on the wall didn't disappear with the others. It lingered for a second too long, a second that felt like a warning. My apartment had always been small, but after that it became suffocating, dim corners filling with a weight I could feel in the back of my throat. When I walked down the hallway, I sensed something following just half a step behind. Sometimes I heard what sounded like fabric brushing against the floor, but my clothes were still, untouched. I bought brighter bulbs, installed extra lamps, even used my phone flashlight every time I entered a room. But no matter how much light I poured into the apartment, the shadow always found a way to stretch across the floor at my feet, longer, darker, denser than it should have been. I tried avoiding walls, windows, any surface where it could appear, but shadows find you. They cling. They wait. And mine had started paying attention to things I couldn't see. The footsteps came 3 nights later, soft but unmistakable, bare soles on cold tile. I had just turned off the living room lights to head to bed, when the sound echoed through the hallway behind me. I spun around, heart hammering, but nothing was there, except the shadow. It was stretched across the floor, elongated and distorted as if standing behind me, though I stood alone. The head was tilted, listening. When I stepped forward, it didn't. It stayed rooted to the ground, like it belonged to something still standing in the dark. I backed away slowly, my breath shaking. I reached for the light switch, but as soon as my fingers brushed it, the shadow lifted an arm, slowly, deliberately. But my own arm was trembling at my side. That was the moment I realized the truth. It wasn't copying me. It was learning me, studying, mimicking, improving. That night, I slept with the lights on. It didn't help. I decided to trap it. Everyone knows what mirrors are supposed to do, reflect the world exactly as it is. Shadows behave the same, simple, obedient, harmless. I stood in the bathroom with the overhead light buzzing faintly, heart pounding against my ribs like it was trying to break free. I lifted my right arm, the reflection matched, but the shadow hesitated, then raised its arm slower, straighter, with a precision mine lacked. Its hand opened wider than a hand should, fingers too long, too thin. Its head twitched to the side, as though considering me, and then, in the mirror's reflection, it stepped forward. Not a trick of lighting, not an illusion. The shadow detached from my feet for a split second, peeling upward like smoke curling off a dying flame. I stumbled back, slamming into the wall. The shadow snapped back into place as if pretending to behave, but I'd seen enough. It wasn't a part of me anymore. It was becoming its own thing, its own presence, and it wanted out. The power outage wasn't an accident. I'm convinced of that. At exactly 2:17 a.m., every light in the apartment died at once. Lamps, overheads, even my phone screen wouldn't turn on. The darkness hit like a wave, drowning the room instantly. I couldn't see anything, not even my hands against my face. But I felt the air shift, felt something rise behind me like a shadow unglued from the earth. The room was silent until it wasn't. A whisper of movement brushed the floor, a soft exhale near my ear, and then a sound I never imagined a shadow could make, breathing. Not gasping, not panting, breathing slowly, calmly, like a predator preparing to pounce. I bolted for the window, hands clawing in the dark. Something moved where I stepped, something cold and shapeless sliding across the floor. The breathing behind me quickened, eager. Then lightning flashed outside, filling the room with sudden white. And in that fraction of a second, I saw it. The shadow standing upright, no longer attached to me, its head almost touching the ceiling. Its limbs impossibly long, body tapering into smoke around the edges like it wasn't fully solid yet. Its face, if it had one, tilted toward me with a warped curiosity. When the lightning faded, it didn't disappear. It stayed visible. It had become real. I ran, not out of the apartment, just mindlessly, stumbling through the dark as if distance alone could help. But the shadow followed, gliding on the walls, under the furniture, beside me like a faithful companion. Except nothing faithful breathes your name, and I swear it whispered mine. When I reached the living room, another bolt of lightning illuminated the space just long enough for me to see what it was doing. It wasn't trying to attack. It wasn't trying to harm. It was trying to stand in the exact space where I was. It wanted to replace me. One movement at a time, one imitation at a time, it had learned my shape, my rhythm, my posture, my breath. Now it wanted the rest. The lights flickered back on, and suddenly I couldn't move. My body felt heavy, frozen, pinned to the spot like someone had poured concrete into my bones. Slowly, the shadow stepped forward, merging its outline with mine. Its arms aligned with my arms. Its head hovered just above my shoulder, as if adjusting itself into my skin. Then I understood. Shadows don't imitate you. They study you. And sometimes they decide they can do better. I felt it press into me, sinking into my chest like cold water filling lungs. My vision dimmed. The room grew darker and darker, until I realized I was no longer standing in the room. I was watching from the floor, from the wrong side, from inside the shadow. And above me, my body, my shape, straightened its posture, inhaled calmly, and blinked with eyes that weren't mine anymore. My shadow hadn't wanted to escape. It had wanted to take its rightful place. The shadow standing upright, no longer attached to me, its head almost touching the ceiling, its limbs impossibly long, body tapering into smoke around the edges like it wasn't fully solid yet. Its face, if it had one, tilted toward me with a warped curiosity. When the lightning faded, it didn't disappear. It stayed visible. It had become real. I'm still here. Not dead, not gone, just trapped, where shadows go when they're not needed anymore. I see the world from the edges now, flat and colorless. I follow the thing that wears my body, stretched across pavement and walls while it walks freely. It moves differently than I ever did, more confident, more curious, more alive. Sometimes it glances down at me, just a flick of its new eyes. A silent reminder. It learned me. It replaced me. And now, it's learning others. Tonight, as it stands outside your house, the streetlight behind it stretching me toward your door, I finally understand. It's looking for someone new, someone to become, someone to replace. And I can only watch. The shadow standing upright, no longer attached to me, its head almost touching the ceiling, its limbs impossibly long, body tapering into smoke around the edges like it wasn't fully solid yet. Its face, if it had one, tilted toward me with a warped curiosity. When the lightning faded, it didn't disappear. It stayed visible. It had become real. I'm still here. Not dead, not gone, just trapped, where shadows go when they're not needed anymore. I see the world from the edges now, flat and colorless. I follow the thing that wears my body, stretched across pavement and walls while it walks freely. It moves differently than I ever did, more confident, more curious, more alive. Sometimes it glances down at me, just a flick of its new eyes. A silent reminder. It learned me. It replaced me. And now, it's learning others. Tonight, as it stands outside your house, the streetlight behind it stretching me toward your door, I finally understand. It's looking for someone new, someone to become, someone to replace. And I can only watch.